All right, what is going on, Hustle Buddies? How we doing today? All right, let me know in the chat if you can see me and hear me, or if you can hear my kids screaming. Okay. I do apologize if my face is blurry or grainy. I'm sorry. I've done everything that I can to try to fix it. I've got some more equipment coming. It's not here yet, but we'll see. Just say hi to my kid who's screaming right outside my door. So, all right, today I'm really excited. This is sort of a continuation from yesterday's live videos. If any of you guys were watching yesterday's videos, we had a really good turnout. But we've been talking all about these Amazon to Amazon flips. Now, Amazon to Amazon flips, they've been around for a while, but they're really becoming more popular recently as people are looking for new ways or sometimes better ways of sourcing products. Because I mean, the Amazon marketplace, it's not getting any easier. We're not getting any less competition. Stuff isn't becoming easier to find, and so people are always adapting and shifting and changing. So Amazon to Amazon flipping is where you are buying something from Amazon. You're using Amazon as your store instead of going to like Kohl's.com or Walmart.com or whatever. You are buying it directly from Amazon, and then you resell it right back onto Amazon. Now, there's a multitude of ways that this can sort of work out, like bundling or debundling or finding like pricing errors or spikes or chasing trends, all that stuff. We're going to be talking about a few of those. I'm bringing on our friend Saul here. Saul has been doing Amazon to Amazon flipping for about 6 years. He's been selling on Amazon even longer than that, but really focusing on these A to A flips for quite a while. He's one of the main voices sort of in the Amazon reseller sphere as far as Amazon to Amazon flipping goes. There's not a whole lot of content out there. We've put out some stuff and Saul has put out some stuff. Other than that, I haven't really found a whole lot of anything. So let me know if you guys have any questions for him. I'm going to be pulling him on here in a second, but if you guys have any questions for him in the chat, put a little like hashtag question and then write your question and we will try to take care of you guys. All right. Without any further ado, let's bring in Saul. Hey, Saul, how's it going, man?
Doing well, Nate. How are you?
Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, we wanted to bring in Saul here. We actually, so there was we were talking to Chris Grant and Nate McAllister about putting together some Amazon to Amazon content, and our wires got crossed, and we were about to make something, and then you guys made something. I was like, well, shoot, I don't want to just like compete against you guys. Like, well, why don't we just like work together? Why don't we do something where instead of being like, oh, which person do I want to listen to? Like, let's just team up and just give people everything. So we've Saul here has an Amazon to Amazon flipping class that he's partnered with Chris Grant. So if you've done like the OA challenge or the wholesale challenge, anything like that, it's going to be that same format. So it's Saul and Chris, and they're doing this Amazon to Amazon flips challenge. The doors close, I believe, tonight because it starts tomorrow. You've got a busy ahead of you. But yeah, so it starts tomorrow. And our way of sort of making it better and joining up with that is we've thrown in our entire June sourcing camp. So we do this this time. It's about a week long. It's 10 days sourcing camp where we just get together and just source with people. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's an event for sourcing. We've thrown that in, the entire thing completely for free. So anyone who signs up for the A to A challenge, which you can see a little QR code right there, anyone who signs up for that A to A challenge will automatically get our June sourcing camp for free. So, all right, that's our little spiel. Now that that's out of the way, we can get to the meat and potatoes. So, Saul, what can you sort of share with us as far as some like really cool Amazon to Amazon tricks or hacks or things that maybe people haven't tried before?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I mean, I know you wanted to segue away from it, but I think that's a phenomenal package. I didn't know any of that until the other day, right? That there was any concern there, and so you kind of bundling it in, I think, is like a no-brainer situation. It's crazy. So I appreciate you guys, and I know everyone's going to get value out of both things now, yeah, if they decide to join. Um, So I caught a replay of your call yesterday, and so for me, maybe it was just going a little bit deeper into some of those areas that you already talked about. I love the deal finder. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
probably if anyone here has done HOA, it's probably through Keepa Deals. I think that's probably the main way that most people source. And there's just so many different nuances of doing that. And what I particularly love about it is actually being really, really wide with my ranges for sales rank. and other
Mm.
things, because as we learned a couple of years ago, Amazon decided to stop playing nice with their sales rank reporting. And so there's a ton of categories and products that actually have no rank anymore, but are
Yeah.
really good A2A flips. And so a lot of people, I think, get in this like space of, oh, I only want to see under 100,000. And you're like, well, that's fine for you, but I'm going to go over here and buy all this non-rank stuff and make a lot of money. And so deals, you can actually see that, and I can share my screen, uh, and we can do it that way as well. And I've never used this
Yeah,
thing before, so
the
bear with me as
reskin.
we,
Oh, you're good.
yeah, as I figure it out for a second.
It
I
should
think
be
this
down, like,
is
right between us. Yep, there we go, and then I can pull it
I
on
think
there.
this is what we want to see.
Perfect.
Awesome. So yesterday, I know you went over kind of all the different filters here on the left-hand side, which is wonderful. And actually, like my day two, for anyone that wants more detail, day two of the challenge is entirely on this deal section. Um, but what we can do here is this max and min rank. I actually like to keep it all in all, and I know it's a little overwhelming when you think about it because you're going to get tens of thousands of results. But what's really nice is because it's all, that actually pulls in the non-rank stuff too. And so if we go and we look at certain categories, like electronics in particular, there's a couple categories that for whatever reason are historically really, really bad at reporting ranks. And we might not find any gold today, right? But I just want to show an example of a product like this. So we have this Netgear product that's normally 40 bucks. Obviously someone selling it at 10, it's probably not something that we're going to buy, given that it's not Amazon and it's not FBA. But there are many times where you'll find products just like this where Amazon has dropped price on, or an FBA seller that you trust has, and this would never appear in someone's deal section that's using a max rank because there's no rank to be pulled in. Um, so if you're looking for kind of like pro tips, that's by far one of my favorites. Like we have something here, right? This is actually an FBA product that if you trusted the seller, we could buy. Normally at $22, now it's $10, by a pretty big seller, if you are comfortable with that, and it's really, really consistently at 23. So, this might be like a 50 or 60% ROI product if we flip it that way. And again, you're one of a few people that's going to see it, if you actually take advantage of doing this. So we can go through it. And there's other categories too, but I have found electronics to be a massive one. I do like to look at everything. Over here, we have it right now where Amazon must be in stock. I actually don't normally click that. So what I'll do is I'll end up with 30,000 or so products that pick up. And all I'm doing is, you know, quickly assessing like you did yesterday. But I'm particularly looking for those products that have no rank when I do this particular filter.
I like that.
I also don't, I'm assuming there's no questions because I can't see any. So I'm just gonna keep
Yeah, I
going
don't know if
until
the people are still kind of funneling in, so there'll probably be a lot of replay watchers. So even if you guys are watching the replay on this, feel free to drop a comment below, and we'll get back to you. I know with Facebook algorithm and stuff, it doesn't always push out these external links to people.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely happy to. And I put my Twitter and my name if you
Oh
want
yeah,
to
if you
DM
guys
me
definitely
anytime as
follow him.
well.
His Twitter is phenomenal, guys. If you are at all interested in doing A to A flips, definitely follow that Twitter.
I appreciate that. Do you do any Amazon to Walmart flips? I just started, so I still think I'm early, but also late to the Walmart train. I know that there's some early adopters that are crushing, and I don't think we're, of course, anywhere close to where saturation is with Amazon. Not that I think Amazon's not saturated anyway, but I got my Walmart account set up maybe a month or two ago. I'm super slow to actually shipping. I have a warehouse. Half my warehouse is just inventory that needs to go somewhere, and I just have not found the time to do it. And I have a little Walmart pile that's growing, but I am doing Amazon to Walmart. We actually have a bonus PDF that's going to come with the challenge, all about how to best do Amazon to Walmart, or at least how to help you find some of those deals.
Nice.
There's not a ton of great software for Walmart yet that I've seen. Um, and we can actually go over a little bit of software on this call because there is some really great software for A2A, and I'm a little biased because I built it, but I think it's great. And we're trying to help you do Amazon to Walmart with that same stuff. But for Walmart, what I've just gotten accustomed to is if I find a really good deal for Amazon, I'll just check both. If I think something's a little bit on the fence for Amazon, like this ROI is a little bit lower, then I'll check Walmart. I haven't gone out of my way yet to specifically find products on Amazon that maybe aren't profitable at all on Amazon, but are profitable on Walmart. Now, there is a interesting way to do this in tactical arbitrage that Chris Grant showed me. And I'm sure he's done it elsewhere publicly, where you can kind of do some cool like reverse negative filters in TA, and it'll kind of reverse engineer the Amazon to Walmart situation to find negative profit, in which case
Mhm.
that would be things you could buy on Amazon and sell Walmart. Um, but nothing hardcore yet, at least out of my camp. So, I mean, this is right. I'm not going to sit here and do this long term because you did this yesterday, but a lot of what I do is still through the deal section. What I've just tried to do is expand how I look at it versus maybe someone who's brand new to keep it deals. I do that, of course, by being more aggressive with my rank. I do that by being a little bit more aggressive with my price drop percentage. I'm a really big fan of 30 and 40% price drops. The reason for that is right, a lot of times you find products, and I looked at some of the products you found yesterday, and I don't remember if any fit this bill, but you find products where maybe in the last month it would only be a 30% ROI, but actually Amazon dropped 35
Mhm.
days ago a little bit, and now they're dropping again, and we feel like the mean is going to regress back to that mean, and that mean is a 50 or 60% ROI. And again, people are going to miss these because they're just looking for the home runs, and I think
Yeah.
that's common across all of Amazon sourcing.
Oh,
Like when
yeah.
you do OA, RA, right? People are just like, I'm not touching it if I can't make 100% ROI or like $10 or whatever their thing is. And I think a lot of A2A is singles and doubles. I don't know if you would
Uh-huh.
agree.
Yep, for
Um,
sure.
but that's the beauty because we're sitting like our job is not hard, right? Like we're sitting here on one website clicking some buttons. Like if I can't feel comfortable buying something for $3 or $4, then I maybe I should be doing something more challenging, like going to the store and scanning products. But when I'm doing A2A, I have a prep center. I buy stuff, I ship it to them, they ship it in. I'm happy personally to buy something and make $4, even if I can only buy three of them, because the reality is, if I can do that every day, I've made $400 that month. Like
Yep.
the little things add up. And so I do want to call out, if you're getting into it, if you do the challenge or if you're doing it yourself, you're going to find some crazy wins. But I think the majority are going to be those like 5, 10, $15 profits. I think my average ROI over the last month is about 55%, which is good. Probably mostly because of its scale. I end up spending about 40 or $50,000 a month now on A2A. I think when I was lower, I could get about 100% ROI because I was very picky. But I just realized like, hey, I'm not touching the product. I'm just going to buy everything that looks moderately good, and just kind of have it churn through.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why
Once you go in that, like, prep
sorry.
center direction and you're not the one that's, like, physically packaging stuff,
Dude,
then
it
it's
changed my
a
whole
whole different
belief
ballgame. Yeah.
around products.
Yep.
I, I'm buying stuff now. I never would have. I've been flipping. It's like on the wall water heaters, and I was like, "There's
Okay.
no shot I would be touching water heaters if I had to prep them myself." But I'm all for someone else prepping them.
Uh-huh.
Um, and yeah, I don't even really look at what the product is anymore. As long as the numbers are there, I'm gonna buy it. And so that's why just harping on it's okay to drop your percent range down to 30, 40% because you're gonna find some gold that it maybe is. I call it like the stairway to hell, right? It's just kind of like dropping every like 2 to 4 weeks, but it's going to regress back to that mean at some point. I also did pull up some other tabs here that I'm happy to talk about. So the challenge is broken into 5 days. The first day is going to be a pretty beefy like introduction and strategy. Just kind of, I have a 16-page kind of presentation all about how I think about A2A, some example keepa things, the ins and outs, the tips and tricks. But then the next 4 days are going to break down into these different sections. Day two being keepa deals, but then we're going to go into debundles and bundles is an entire day devoted to that. I have a day devoted to being proactive with our A2A flip. So instead of what I call what we're doing here is reactive, right? Like we don't know what's going to happen on the screen. We're just clicking refresh and we're hoping to see some profit and we're reacting to it. Proactive is when we go out of our way, generally through Keepa Product Finder, and we're looking for deals that we can track or take a little bit more work, but we're proactively putting in that effort up front. And then later, that money is going to come find us. And so that's day 5. It's probably my favorite day, and I'm excited to get there. And then day 4 is going to be all about like seasonals and holds. Like, what can we do to buy products now that maybe aren't profitable, but that will be in 2 months? Or, and this is one of my favorites, how do we buy products today that no one thinks is going to be profitable because they're brand new? And we can use Keepa to decipher, oh, the brand historically goes up, or this product is going to be hot and we're just getting on the trend early. And we can use TikTok and Facebook groups and things like that to figure those out. So all of the fun stuff about like how to get in early, but using Keepa to kind of find those listings. So I've taken some small snippets of a couple of those days and I put them in the tabs here. So this tab, no, this is the blank one. There we go. Let me move these over. So this tab is looking for bundles, I want to say. Yeah, it's a very, very, very specific bundle situation. So we've just done, and we can actually click this button. All we have is 3 filters. Super, super small, super easy. We're just looking for products that are under 100,000 rank. Amazon is currently in stock under 30 bucks. And then we have this title field, and this is the most important one. So we're going to scroll down here and look at it for a second. So the title field is anything we put in the title field that's going to pull up based on what's in the title of the product on Amazon. And if you're used to using Google or any kind of search engine, you kind of understand how you can manipulate this. You can actually hover over here and it'll show you a little bit. There's some things that this explanation does not cover, which we'll cover in the challenge. But for the most part, what we've done here is we put quotes around pack of 12. So we only want to see products that have pack of 12 in the title. We've then put a negative sign or a dash in front of drink, water, pens, and soup, because we don't care about looking at products that are 12 pack of soup. That's going to be much harder for us to debundle. Water, etc. is the same. And leaves us with 3,400 products. And the whole goal here, and we may or may not find something today, but we're just going to show you the example of it. The whole goal is, what does Amazon sell in these multi-packs, this case 12 pack, that we can then take down and break into smaller bundles. So we take 12, we break it down into a 3-pack or a 4-pack. And you can do that a couple different ways. For right now, all I've done is get all of the deals that fit that parameter into one sheet, which is 3,400. And I've done this enough where I have some idea about the types of products I'm looking for. The reason I got rid of water is because I'm not really looking for stuff like this. I'm not looking for bundles where it's a giant bottle or beverage, things that you could find that are like forcibly packed. Ideally, what we want to find are items that have individual UPCs that are then larger bundles of. So like this would potentially be an example of, I am not a huge fan of selling canned goods this way, but ranch style beans, interesting. But my guess is that these are individual things with you. They just put them in a 12-pack, something like this, right? So we have just the normal Planters peanuts, but we're selling them in a pack of 12, etc. And so all we do is we go down this list and we're looking for kind of, again, these things that are kind of interesting to us that have individual UPCs like this. We would then open them up on Amazon. And if we're lucky, sometimes they're like this, where I'll look at all these add-ons. Sometimes we have all of the variations available to us right on the page, which is pretty cool. And we can just flip between the variations and look for, like, this is a 1-ounce pack of 12. Obviously, none of these other ones fit, but sometimes you'll have like 1-ounce pack of 12, 1-ounce pack of 6, 1-ounce pack of 3, and we can actually just arbitrage between the variations. I'll tell you what we're probably gonna have to do for this one is we would take this, right, and we would throw it into Amazon and we would search it up. I do have some examples here. Let me see if they want to load into this tab. And I found these actually, this exact search, the search that we're looking at right now is what brought these up. So let's see if these are still profitable. So we have this 12-pack Dove soap, and these are 2-bar individual box, and there's 12 of them. So really 24 bars, but we're going to sell them in packs of 2 because that's how they come. And they're selling them for, if it's grab and save, for $15.67 for a 12-pack. What I also really like is price drops on multi-packs, because that kind of gives us an edge. If there's been a recent price drop on a multi-pack, we're even more likely to be able to find something. Super consistent, $23. Now it's 16 and then 15 something with subscribers. And all I did was I took this Dove Bar Gentle Skin Moisturizer Cream, I threw it in here, and one of the listings that came up was this one. And so this is a slightly different package. but the same product. It's a beauty bar with deep moisture pan, deep moisture. This is a French, and then we have instead a 1/4 moisturizing cream. So if we go here, bead moisturizer, 1/4 moisturizing cream. They call it white. It's clearly white. Original, I think they just renamed original to white, but same product. And this is a 2-pack. If we scroll down here, we can see that Amazon's currently in stock at $14.39, but they're usually not in stock. And then when they come in stock, they don't last in stock. And when they're out of stock, it moves. This is a fairly nice moving chart at about $6. And so you're thinking, well, it's a really, really cheap. But if we put in our 621, which is kind of what we saw it selling for most of the time, and then we come over here and we do math, we do 1567 divided by 12, we get $1.30. So if you can move these, if you're not saying this for prep center, if you can prep this yourself, because prep center is going to make this not make sense. But if we can move this ourselves, we're making about 100% ROI on a product that flies. And again, I'm more comfortable buying this because Amazon has a clear track record of selling out. And so this is the whole goal of, where are we? Of this filter. And we can get really, really nuanced with it. And we'll probably not do that today, but we'll talk about that, about how we can hedge our bet and ideally find products that we don't have to sift through 3,000 of to find some wins. And also remember, right now, we're only looking at packs of 12. There's packs of 18, packs of 24, packs of 6, packs of 2. There's a million ways to do this. And I really like this model. Is time intensive, right? We're not going to get quick wins like we do at Keepa Deals, but we're also putting in the effort up front. You're getting experience. You're getting kind of what they call it. It's like gained knowledge, right? So the next time you do this, it's going to be better and better. And who else is going to do this? Like I'm confident. As much as I would love all people that sign up for this challenge to go crush it day 6, I'm very confident 20% at most are actually going to go forward and be like, okay, let me type all this stuff into Keepa Deal product finder. Let me sift through these deals for debundles, and let me go actually do this. So if you do it, you're one of few that are actually going to take advantage of a strategy like this, because most people just they won't. They want the easy wins, which I get.
Yep, and that's like, for if you've ever gone out sourcing and you're just like, you have replens and stuff always tanks for you, like you can look at that Keepa chart that hasn't tanked at all. Like those Dove bars have been the same price. That Keepa that price history was very, very, very equal.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Super steady. So like there's very little risks. Now, granted, it's one of those like, oh, I don't want to make $1.30 on each thing. Like, who cares? If you can sell 100 of these per day, that's literally what a teacher makes in Florida. Like, all you have to do is tape up some soaps together and you're making what your kid's teacher is making, or what Nate used to make when I was a teacher. So it's like, you can sort of get over some of these things and put in that extra effort. And I love, I mean, it's a love-hate relationship, but I'll say in this situation, I love these debundling finds because they're so hard. The larger barrier to entry there is in finding a product, the longer that product is going to last. It's like built-in longevity because it's a difficult product to actually get a hold of.
I went out. Yeah, it's like when you RA and you have to type in the product title.
Yes.
Instead of scanning the UPC. Right. Yeah, it's all the little things that make it that much harder. The 5%. I saved another one here, and I'm trying to remember what. Oh, this one. So this is actually not even a day. I don't have a day devoted to this. I think I'm going to throw it into a random day. I was fiddling earlier. So I don't know if you guys remember, I'm aging myself. There used to be a free tool. It's called like a seller tool portal or seller. I don't remember what the URL was, but they essentially had created the Amazon to Amazon book flipping, like the e-store situation. Yep. And there's this whole notion that you can buy used books, FBM, and then sell them FBA and make money. And that was actually my first ever A2A flip, was a used book from the UK. And that shut down. The free one shut down. I think there's still a paid version of this, but I was so how can I do this with Keepa? Because I haven't done this in a long time. And I actually went to ChatGPT. I'll be honest. I was curious how much ChatGPT could help me with this. I was like, hey, how does it handle keepa? Does it understand keepa? Because keepa has the API, and I have those docs, and I can upload them in. And I said, all right, here's all the information. Help me figure out how to use the filters. And after a lot of fiddling, it got here. And so I don't have this as a day, but again, I think I'm going to throw it into like maybe a day that's a little bit slower, or if we have questions about it. And so all I've done here, for anyone that likes to sell books, is we looked at items under 300,000 rank, where the new price of the book is at least $50. The lowest used price of any book style, or condition. So like new, very good, good, acceptable, doesn't matter, $20. But the buy box is 30, right? And that led us to 433 products. And these are all books. I just chose books. And you see I've clicked a couple of them already out of curiosity. But what we see here is, this is an example where the lowest, and I'll zoom in, the lowest used price is $17.54, but the used buy box is $46. And we can see that right here. Very good. And if you've ever sold used books on Amazon, you know that the FBA used books get very favorable buy box statistics. And used books are also really weird with buy box. Not everyone gets buy box eligibility. You actually have to sell a decent amount of used books before you can even be eligible for the buy box. But if we go in here and we filter and we go to very good, we have these, like literally they're all $40 plus. And we filter then by good. And we see this huge price drop down to $18 and $20. And so there's a couple things that happen that we can arbitrage on if we want. We can go through this list and we can look for discrepancies within conditions themselves. So we can say, all right, I'm going to flip a very good to a very good. I'm going to buy it FBA. I'm going to flip it FBA. Or what I find is some people just under condition or over condition their books. And there's a good shot that it was goods is actually what we consider very good, especially if you're doing FBA, where you can prep it properly in a poly bag and you can make sure that it arrives correctly. And so we might have some opportunity there, but there's 400 of these things that we can just go through. And what's really nice about the product finder, and you all know this from the deals, is that these update live. So we look at it today, it's going to be very different than we look at tomorrow. Right, so we have a very good here, priced at what, like $17 or so, just under $17, and the buy box price used is 35 good. So super good chance if we bought this one and then flipped it back FBA used very good, we probably would take this buy box at $35, $37.
That's a super interesting
see
use case for keepa. I've never thought about doing that myself. That's really interesting. I like that.
And it's not, this particular one isn't going to be huge ROI, about 20% margin, but these are books. These are like easy to ship, easy to deliver, like easy to stack. Like big fan of books. And that's why we're really looking for high rank, because books get crazy. I mean, books is such a big category. You can sell 10 million ranked books. But this is 34,000 and this thing's gonna go.
Oh yeah.
Because, it's a concern with storage fees and et cetera. And I get that. But this is really just, again, this was this morning, 20 minutes of me like tinkering around and like, what can we do with data for, I really wanted something for this call. I was like, all right, what can I bring to this call that I've never talked about before? And this is it. I've never tweeted about this. I have never created, this is just for you guys. And what I can do, even, we can copy this. I don't think I have access to chat. I don't know how to do that. But I can send this.
If you send it to me in a message, I can copy and paste it and put it in the chat.
I just send it on a separate messenger to you. So that is the exact URL that Nate's going to post.
Yeah. Oh, that's super interesting. And that's like, I was touching on concepts like this yesterday, where like the money with A to A flipping is in tinkering with these different little levers, and like the data inputs just change things around. There's no one perfect, like, oh, I'm always going to do this, but tinkering around, you can find so much of this interesting stuff. And I love what Saul was saying, where it was basically like, you focus on that reverse engineering skill. And this is something that the more that you do A to A flipping and the more that you utilize different tools, the more you're going to get good at this. It's figuring out like, okay, here is my end goal. So his end goal, he wants to find these products that are flippable, FBM, turn them into FBA used, and make a profit. Okay, so then he started to think, how can I recreate that in Keepa? Like, how can I find that result? He already knows the result that
It's
he
this,
wants. He's not like
and
fishing
it's so simple.
for whatever. It's he already knows what fish he wants. Now he just has to figure out, okay, what lures do I need to put in order to hit that fish? It's like, okay, so I'm just going to fiddle here, fiddle there, fiddle there. And when you keep doing that, when you keep building these skills, oh my gosh, there's so much potential here. Yeah, I've been, it's doing A-to-A flips. Now I'm relatively new. Like I've been doing A-to-A flips about a year and a half now, like heavy into A-to-A flips. And it brings me back to those like early days when I was first starting, where it just feels like treasure hunting and there's all this new stuff and there's hardly anyone like competing with
Yeah,
me. Like, this is so much fun. So yeah,
that
I
is.
love
I mean, that is the beauty. I think that's what drew. I mean, that's what drew me, and I think it's what draws, especially the deal section. It does
yeah.
feel like a giant garage sale
Yes.
sometimes, and you're like, oh, I'm just. What can I find, and what do I think is valuable that someone else doesn't? Because I do get a question often of, well, saturation, right? I mean, that's a question everyone has by Amazon, but also A2A or any model that you teach. And the reality is, Amazon price drops 100,000 products a day. So it's 100,000 opportunities that you could buy something and potentially make money. Now, are all those good? No, I would say, more than half are. And I don't know anyone that can afford to buy 50,000 products a day. And that's just if you bought one of each. And every model is different. Like I might be comfortable buying used books and you're not, and that's great. I didn't used to do a lot of apparel, and I think A2A has got me more into shoes because you'll find not you, but like, anyone here on this call who's going to get into A2A more, you'll find apparel is a pretty deep category when it comes to
Yep.
discounts. And so you end up with a lot of shoes and usually pants and things like that. And I'm also comfortable third party. And we can talk about a little bit about what makes me comfortable. Because I had a poll actually on Twitter maybe a month or two ago, and I was like, hey, if you do A2A, do you do third party? Do you just do Amazon? Kind of, and like 80% of the people said I only buy from Amazon. And I was like, oh, well, this is kind of great for me because it's a lot more fish in that sea that you aren't touching. But at the end of the day, like I pass a lot of things too. And so when I do third party, it's really just about your risk management, looking at the seller, understanding the type of product that you might arrive. Now, the reason I feel okay about it, and for anyone that's on the fence, I have beaten about every claim you can beat on Amazon with an A2A invoice,
Same.
both as Amazon as a seller, but also third party sellers. Uh, and I've gone as far as to beat claims with FBM receipts, which make me a little more uncomfortable because it doesn't say Amazon anywhere on there about like shipping and delivery. It's just like the seller's name is directly on there. I when they had that Adidas kind of whole regating issue, I got ungated in Adidas again with an FBM A2A invoice. Um, so like I over the year I started 6 years ago nervous, and I think about 3 years ago I heard enough trust from other people that were my circle where they were like, hey, I beat these claims and these claims. I was like, okay, I'm gonna venture out into third party, and it's still a smaller percentage. I would say it's about 30% of my buys, but it really opens you up to some massive profit if you catch the right one. And we aren't even necessarily talking about like Sally down the street who goes to garage sales and flips things. Like some of these are massive sellers who aren't necessarily doing anything that they think is when they're not, oh, oops, I made a mistake. This is just the price they're coming in at because this is what they sold it at a year ago and they forgot to update the repricer, or like maybe they just want to move it and they're just in the kind of churn and burn market. And we're like, oh, actually, we know that this is going to sell for more because, we have the time, we can take the time to look at it where they're moving so much product that they can't look at each individual ace in the way that we can.
Yep.
And that just goes back to, again, like partially when I'm doing these keep it deals, why I sometimes have this Amazon offer check, but most of the time I leave it pretty loose and I just kind of want to see what comes in, and go from there. But we've been talking not even that long. I think it's been like what, half an hour or so, and I don't know how many hundreds of new deals have
Uh-huh.
popped in just in this conversation. There's 76,000 here just that we can look through, and 121,000 if you're more comfortable flipping. Like CDs and vinyl, not something that I've pushed aggressively. Sometimes I'll flip vinyl A2A, but I know there's an entire market for CD and
Mhm.
vinyl that I'm not tapping into, similar to these used books that we just looked at.
Yeah, we've done it
So it
occasionally,
is,
but not often.
yeah, it is astonishing. So I do also, and this is not a thrill of the shill, as they say on MFM. This is I'm not going to push any additional pay stuff on you guys, but I do. I almost think it's part of my job when I talk about A2A to make you guys aware of what else exists out there that other people might be using that gives them a slight advantage. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to use it or pay the money for it, but it would be silly if you didn't understand what quote unquote your competitors are doing. I don't think we're competing against each other, but etc. I'm going to do that. And also, since I built this, it comes with the challenge. So if you sign up for the challenge, you actually get access to this. So that's like another perk. So it's still like in very early phases now, but we call it Flip Alert. And what we've done here with Flip Alert is we've tried to take a lot of that manual keep it deals stuff off of your plate. Because as we just looked at, when you load keep it deals, you have to look at the product style, you have to look at the price, you have to click into it, you have to go to the product page and figure out the ROI and the margin. You have to say, oh, is it FBM or FBA if it's third party? There's a lot of manual work that you have to mentally do. And don't get me wrong, I still use that often, but I wanted to streamline it as best I could. So this is actually the second A2A product that we've built over the last 4 years. And this one is a little bit easier to use and it's very web browser. So all this does very, very, very bluntly, very cleanly, is it will take in that information from Keepa Deals, and you can filter it in more ways than Keepa allows you. So you can actually filter it, for example, by minimum profit and minimum ROI. So we'll do all that math for you based on the 30-day average. And you can even do like review count and seller count, which is not something that we can do through Keepa Deals. And of course, like all the different categories, same thing that you can do there. And then all you're doing is you're sitting here, and I have this on my screen pretty much at all times, just in the corner, and it's just loading in deals. Every time there's a new deal that pops up in Keepa, it's going to populate it here, and it's just going to show me, oh, like here's this Under Armour thing that's 15 bucks now, 35. Here's the profit over the last 30 days. Here's ROI. Sales is like drops. It's kind of arbitrary, but some people wanted that. Rank, offers, etc., reviews, and then we can just pop this open in Keepa, validate it really quickly. Oh yeah, there it is. There's our drop, and then we can decide if we want to buy it or not. So you do get access to this, and we can even like update like, oh, I only want to see 80% ROI, which is crazy, but there it is. These are all the products I've loaded them, and 80% ROI in the last hour or two that fit our criteria. And then we would just keep this up usually on your screen if you have it, or I've done this on my phone, and we could go from there. And so yeah, this is kind of a perk of
Nice. Yeah, that's super cool.
being kind of being part of what we do. And then the second part is this ASIN monitor. You can kind of see some of the products I'm looking at. We built this to actually track products for you. So you just throw in the ASIN or the URL, the target price, so like the max amount of price that you're willing to pay for that product, who the seller is, and we'll track it better than Keepa does. So the downside of Keepa tracking is, if in order for you to be updated, Keepa has to know. And in order for Keepa to know, someone with the Keepa extension probably had to go to that page and see that new price or whatever is happening on the back end there. And so for that reason, there's actually a lot of price drops or things that Keepa doesn't see. And so with this, we're not using Keepa. So you put in whatever you want, and then we'll alert you when it drops in price or restocks, usually about 10 minutes faster than Keepa if Keepa kind of pings you at all. So if you're relying heavily on Keepa tracking, which you should certainly use, and that's again, day 5 is a lot about Keepa tracking. But for like those like really like hot products, and again, this is really just to show you that not everyone plays in the same field, and I don't want you to think that you're doing something wrong by using Keepa tracking and uploading 1,000 things. Oh, and then when it pings you, it's actually out of stock. Someone was faster, someone's botting. That's always the big thing. Must be botted. It may just be that there are products that exist that tell that users a little bit faster. And so if given that all I do is not all, but about 80% of what I do is A2A, I was like, I have to go build tools that make my life easier. And who would I be if I didn't, put them out for the public to use as well?
Nice. Yeah, no, that's awesome. All right. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop them in chat. Again, if you scroll over. How do I, let me see if I can hide that for a second. Yeah. If you want to scan the QR code, so Saul has his A to A challenge. The doors for that are closing tonight. It's with Chris Grant. So I mean, lots of you guys, you know us, you know Chris. By extension, you now know Saul. So like, this is really, really, really high quality information. It's not just a bunch of like fluffy whatever money grabs. Like this is, they're going to go very deep into Amazon to Amazon flips and everything that you could ever want to know about it, basically. So if you're interested in that, definitely give that a scan, or I posted the link in chat a couple times down here. Or if you have any other questions, again, drop them in chat. We can probably hang around just a couple more minutes, but yeah, this was awesome, man. I loved I loved that book one. That's definitely something I'm gonna stick with. I always, like, anytime I'm doing these interviews, like I try to like keep notes of like, okay, here's a new trick or here's a new thing. So for me, the new tricks that I've learned, the book flipping one, super cool trick. I already do debundling and stuff, but I'll probably talk about that more now with people. I'll probably, I think we were just talking before this, you might be able to make it out to a sourcing camp. So maybe we could do like a debundling session or something during sourcing camp for people. Cause I think that's a little bit more like boring and arduous, but there's so much profit to be made that it's like important to sort of touch on and talk about for the people who really want to get into it. So yeah,
it's nitty gritty for sure.
yeah, for sure. I also saw another little, I like those tiny little tricks that you pick up that sometimes people don't even notice. When you were looking at your keepa chart, here, I wonder if I can actually pull up. Can you pull up one of your keepa charts again?
Sure.
And I'll
I can
try to
challenge
show
you.
you what I was talking about. So I saw him do something that I've never done. It's like, oh, that's going to save me a whole like 3 clicks. So when he hovered his mouse over the buy box, over that pink line, he was able to pull up information about that seller. Yes, that, what you just did right there. I have never thought to do this to pull up the information, but he's able to sort of see how big of a seller is this seller trustworthy. And that's a thing for me as well. Like we do a lot of A to A flips, and I also will buy from third-party sellers. I think it's totally fine. But I'm always sort of trying to dive in and do due diligence. Like, okay, is this an actual seller? Is this like a random, like brand new Chinese account who's just going to send me a postcard
Yeah.
instead of a DVD player or whatever? So I'm always trying to check into sellers. This is going to save me so many steps because I'm usually like pulling up their storefront and pulling up their reviews that way. But yeah, I hadn't even thought about clicking on that. So like those tiny little tips, it's always important to pick those up, guys. So I love it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
that's
and you can
great.
even go from here. Like sometimes what I'll do is it doesn't work for FBM, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
So it's mainly like well, it works buy box or FBA, but if they're just like a random new, but I'd love to find an example really quick because the next step to that, what I'll do often, especially if it's FBA, and I had a really great. I mean, here's Amazon Japan, which I love buying from Amazon Japan. I'm sure you do too. But um, if you click here, right, it loads their keepa profile, and then
Uh-huh.
if you click on the storefront, I think a lot of people don't do this either. So when it's FBA, when it's an FBA seller, and that's not as big as this, because Amazon Japan's going to have just an astonishing
They'll have a
number of
couple
ASINs.
listings.
But what you can do is this is essentially giving you all the data you could possibly want from all of the products that that seller sells. And when they're FBA and they've dropped price on one product, what's to say they aren't dropping price on other products? And so a lot of people will sit in deals and be like, "Oh, I'm just going to look and wait and hope that that person has done that or that seller's done that." But instead, we can go to Keepa, we can go to their storefront, and then we can manipulate these
And sort it by the 30-day
rankings
drop.
here.
Ah, that's smart.
Exactly, we can do 30-day drop, or we can do like if there's certain price points, like I don't really care if the seller is selling it for under $10 or whatever it is. So I actually just made a video on this the other day for our group where it worked out perfectly. There was a shoe, it dropped in price. I clicked on it, we did this, and I spent could spend $800 in 5 minutes because you're able to track down all the other shoes that that seller had just dropped price on. And so it's super slept on. I think this entire page, the seller ID kind of
Mm-hmm.
page within Keepa is probably not used nearly as often as it should be.
Yeah, I'll go there, but I have not thought to manipulate it based on like people who are dropping their prices and then sorting it by the price drop. That's a really interesting tip. I like that a lot.
I don't think we're gonna necessarily stumble on a new one here, but yeah, this is those little things, and obviously we'll do our best to cover all of. I mean, I'm not even sure 5 days is enough to really cover like all the little nuances of keepa, and I know that Chris Grant has his keepa academy, and that's really where you want to go if you really want to like crunch into keepa more. But I'm excited for it to go over everything, and then also I'm excited for the questions. I think that's like the best part to me of the challenge.
Hmm.
It's like I'm going to show you some stuff I've written down. Yeah, like I've prepared, but half this challenge is going to be questions that you guys have that are going to be really cool and nuanced, and that we get to like really get into the weeds on.
For sure. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see sort of how everything comes together, how people are sort of enjoying it. I mean, it's a new thing by you, a new thing by Chris, and everything you guys touch is always gold. So I was like, all right, well, I know this is gonna be good. But
I
yeah, so
appreciate it.
we're excited for it. I don't see any more questions. We've been here about 45 minutes, so we'll probably start to kind of wrap things up. But yeah, this was awesome. I hope you guys have learned a couple new tricks. I learned a couple new tricks, and we've been selling for quite a while, so I'm sure some of you guys learned a couple tricks. But yeah, Saul, thank you so much for coming in. This was great. We look forward to checking out the A to A challenge happening starting tomorrow. So doors are closing tonight if you guys still want to grab that. And then again, a reminder, anyone who gets that will also be getting the Hustle Buddies June Amazon sourcing camp, which is coming up in about 4 weeks. So it's all wrapped up into one. So you don't have to like choose, oh, which one do I want to go to? Just come to both. All right. We'll throw them both together and you can get everything. All right. Saul, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Hustle
Thank
Buddies,
you.
I hope you get out there and make